Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for waiting for the computer to get fixed, but it's all good now. And I'm back today with Blue Black Rebecca. So obviously she's not going to be meta. I think the meta is just pretty much set in stone. Any deck that runs Gum Gum Giant is going to be up there, and then obviously the aggro decks like Bello Betty and Zoro are still seeing really huge success just because they countered those specific decks. But yeah, Blue Black Rebecca is a pretty fun like off meta pick. I think that honestly the leader is a little lackluster. One, not being able to attack is really hard to play around, just because if you misplay, you really feel it because your leader's not able to help you add that extra pressure. And also I feel like the support that Dressrosa has received in the last couple sets is just pretty lackluster. Like if you look at Rebecca's biggest top end piece, it's a 7 cost, and that's why I have Kuzan in here, just because we need like a boss monster in order to really put pressure on the board, and I think Dressrosa alone is not enough to do that. So as you can see, the build isn't really centralized around the 7 cost Luffy, the Kong Luffy, just because I felt like there's a lot of decks that can deal with this card now. Just like as soon as you put him down and he swings once, he's going to get like red rocked, or he's going to get popped by like removal decks, or even just swung into because he's only a 7k body. And so I think that game plan was just way too inconsistent and got countered way too easily, especially in this format. And I went a more like control route, where you're using your Dressrosa characters to lower the cost, or just popping like mid-range bodies, and then using your events like Gravity Blade and 3000 Worlds are going to be your main two to remove board, so that you can stick your bodies on board but your opponent cannot do the same. So yeah, that's basically it. The one thing I added that I don't see a lot of people running, just because I think a lot of people aren't running like the control build of Rebecca, is this Momonosuke. And I think he's really good because one, he's a 2k, and two, he is your basically a searchable Uta in the deck. This 2-cost Uta who's able to constantly give you recurring value every turn, forcing your opponent to answer it. Otherwise you're just gonna get value every single turn from this card. But yeah, let's just hop over to some gameplay and then I'll show you guys how this thing runs. Okay, so first game I got for you guys, we're gonna be going up against Green Carrot. And honestly, Green Carrot is like a nerfed version of Green Bonnie. But I just wanted to show how strong Rebecca can be against decks that don't have a lot of protection against removal. And so first turn, it's pretty standard stuff. I'm just putting down the Colosseums. Just setting up for our future turns, and then the Carrot just playing down the Wanda, and Carrot trying to look for her stage there. So swinging in 7 at lead. First one we're just going to take. I don't think it's worth it to counter out, just because Rebecca being a 5 life leader, you are pretty healthy, so don't be afraid to take life early on. And then this Zoro is super nice. I think Zoro is definitely the best support that Dressrosa has gotten in the past couple sets, but obviously, you know, him being a 4 cost, he's not enough to carry the whole deck. So yeah, we were able to pop the 1 cost Carrot there. Obviously not really a strong target. Probably should have popped the Wanda, honestly. I don't know why I didn't, just because the Wanda does have 2000 more power than the Carrot. But yeah, now the Carrot is able to play down, I think, another Searcher, or no, I think it restands one of her Dawn actually, and then playing down the Barto, actually resting down the Zoro but swinging into life here. I think that's definitely the right play, just because you're swinging into that Zoro, we're only going to need a counter out of 1k, but obviously swinging into life, you're going to need to counter out a 2k there. And then here, yeah, I take advantage of the Colosseum, and this is what I'm talking about. So this is my first game with the blue-black Rebecca, but Coliseum is really good to be able to swing into characters the turn that your characters are played. And I did it right the first time. I don't know why I didn't do it the second time. I should have popped the Wanda with Usopp and then swing into the Milky there, but yeah, first time playing, sorry about that misplay. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about too. So you're gonna see that because I didn't pop that Wanda, he's able to get like free 7k swing into our lead, and also now we have to answer this Wanda, or otherwise the carrot's going to get a free leader ability from having her on board. And yeah, our leader not being able to attack, every one of our attacks really matter in this matchup. And so it sucks because I'm not able to actually remove the Wanda. I could have swung the Kyros into the Wanda there, but it really wasn't worth, because we bounced the carrot to her hand. And so if we just turned our Kyros sideways just for a 2000 power body, she would be able to freeze it with the carrot. So here, attaching 2, probably going to be swinging 7 into the Usopp, and she does. Just going to let him go here. I decided to save counter for our Zoro and Kyros. Yeah, and then here I think I decide to keep the carrot alive so that I could get a big gravity blade next turn. Just because we only have 2 removal cards in hand and I didn't want to waste it. Like if I 3000 worlds here and they just play down 1 body next turn, I wouldn't want to then gravity blade just 1 body. And so I just put her in a difficult spot where she has to answer a whole bunch of bodies on board. Yeah, she has to answer a whole bunch of bodies on board with only 2 swings available. But I think she plays around this pretty well. Dropping with 10 Dawn, I think she drops down like a Hody this turn, and then using a Luna to stun the whole board. So yeah, here Hody comes down, and then with 3 Dawn remaining, she's just gonna pop that Luna there. Honestly, a really scary spot to be in for us, just because, and this is what I'm talking about, Kyros being a 7 cost, just susceptible to cards like that, and it's really tough because this is your strongest Dressrosa card. And this is why I wanted to save the Gravity Blade in 3000 Worlds, because now we're able to drop the Momonosuke, rest our stage to reduce the Hody, and then just Gravity Blade both of their cards there. And then thanks to our leader ability only costing 1 Dawn, we're able to draw another card as well. So now we're looking in a really good spot. And then this is why it was really important that we saved that 3000 Worlds in hand, just because now we're going to be able to deal with this Doflamingo if he doesn't swing into the Momonosuke. And yeah, this is why Momonosuke is so good, just that recurring value, being able to reduce the Doflamingo down to 8 cost. And then now we're able to reduce it another 4 cost, and just popping that 3000 Worlds there. And I know there's an argument where we could have used like Zoro instead, but obviously overlaying characters doesn't feel really good, especially because every single one of your characters in Rebecca or any leader that doesn't swing is super important, and you don't want to be overlaying those characters. But yeah, we're looking in a really good spot here. I think he swings 7 at lead again, which is kind of crazy. I think he should really be going for board at this point. But I don't mind it too much, just because we have the Man Cherry, and so we should be able to recycle a Rebecca here. And we do, grabbing that Rebecca to hand, and then probably just playing down the Zoro, right, to pop this Tashigi. Yeah, I'm just trying to apply as much pressure as I can before dropping down that Zoro. So I think I swing in a 7-8-8. and then just popping the TCG here. Actually swinging a 10, interesting. Oh, okay, yeah, I see. I wanted to, because he took that last life, just gonna split our Dawn now, forcing him to either give us every single card in his hand, or give us that blocker. So now we're able to swing in 10, 11, right? So he's gonna counter out of the 10 here. And then with only one card left in hand, all we have to do is swing in a 7 to force that blocker out. And then the Zoro's still coming down to be able to get rid of that TCG there. So at this point, the carrot should have no way of coming back into the game. And we should be able to close out. Yeah, so pretty much GG's at this point. And able to get a pretty convincing win against Carrot. Okay, so next game I got for you guys, we're going to be going up against Purple Katakuri. And Purple Katakuri is one of those decks where he does really well into some of the top decks, but when it comes to rogue decks, as you can see in this match here, that's where he kind of like starts to fumble, and I think that's the reason why he's not like one of the top decks himself. And so yeah, going second here, it feels super good for Rebecca just because you're able to use your Searcher and Leader ability. Rebecca's one of those decks where she can go either first or second, doesn't really matter. But yeah, super unfortunate for him. We're able to hit the Gravity Blade from our life there, and then able to get that pudding off the board. And then yeah, honestly just setting up for future turns, just being able to have a reducer on board means that our 3000 worlds just gonna get a lot of value over the next few turns. But yeah, he didn't really put down any big bodies for us to have to deal with. And I think since we have so many removal cards in hand, we probably just rip this. Yeah, we rip the 3000 words to get that pudding off the board so that he's not able to free Leader ability every turn. So yeah, the Sanji coming down feels really bad for us. Yeah, just because we weren't really able to get any value there. But luckily for us, we do have an answer for the Sanji. I think probably just Rebecca Hina play here. Yeah, and then using the 3000 worlds to get rid of that Sanji. And that's really the reason why I have Hina in the deck. Just because Rebecca into Hina is just really, really strong. Just giving us like another option to reduce really low while putting down like a 5k body on board. But I think here I decided to, I contemplated countering. I don't think it's right to here. Just because I know I'm going to be bouncing that Sanji with the Kiros, and I just don't want to give him like a body to constantly rest and swing into. And so yeah, if he wants to swing in like that Sanji into life, I'm okay with that. Just so we can get the draw out of it. And so he actually rips the Ragnarok here to get rid of our Kiros. And then obviously respecting the Momonosuke here, getting rid of that with his Leader. Probably just going to be playing down Rebecca, setting up for future turns. But it's definitely a really good turn for us to really start searching, just because it's going to be really hard for us to pressure him with the cards we have in hand, right? Because for the most part, we only have like 2Ks, and obviously the reducers we have in hand are nice, but we don't have any like removal cards. And so that's going to be really important to try to find. So finally, we have the Usopp. Usopp is like a backup removal piece, but honestly, he's better than nothing. And luckily for us, the Rebecca did find us the Zoro as well. So depending on what he puts down, we can just play the Zoro or the Usopp to answer his board here. So I think I let this go, right? The 7k. Yeah, because there's really no way for us to defend both of them, and I'd rather just like the 5k body there. And then the Kuzan super nice here. So I think it did end up being a misplay. If I defended the our cost reduction there, I would have been able to pop the Sanji, and that would have been super nice. But there was just no way for me to know that I was gonna top deck this Kuzan. So he does swing in here, swing in 7 at our leader as well. And then we do counter out of 1. I think because we wanted, or at least I wanted to stay under the 6 cards in hand, so that we can leader ability every turn and then take advantage of this Kuzan by trying to find stuff like the Zoros, right? So we do find the Zoro here. Probably just gonna be double Zoro. Gonna be able to get rid of 2 of his bodies on board. Probably 3 if he doesn't have the counter for this Kuzan. Oh, and I totally forgot that Zoro. Okay, never mind. We can only get rid of 2 bodies on board. For certain, and then yeah, the Hina gonna be ripping another 10k swing into the Sanji here, just because we don't have stage, and so I couldn't double Zoro. I can only develop 1, right? So here he swings in 7 at the Hina. There's no way we're gonna try to defend that, just because if he rips like a really heavy swing into our Kuzan and gets rid of him, we basically lose the game from there. So it swings in 6 at lead here, probably just counter. Because at this point we can leader ability every turn and then just find resources. And so here, yeah, this really stinks because we still don't have our stage. And then, yeah, we still don't have our stage, so we're only able to use the KO effects once per turn. Yeah, so that really stinks. Swing in 10 to 7 here. And then probably playing down the Zoro just because he is a brick, and then he is able to pop one of those bodies for us as well. And I think at this point, if he wants to swing into our Kuzan, he would have to swing like super heavy into it. But we do have the Rebecca on board, so there's really no way for him to really get rid of that Kuzan. So he plays down the oven here, swinging in 6 at lead. I decided to take this one just because I don't want to get baited by anything and him swinging in like dumb heavy into the Kuzan, like if he has a like a Gamma Knife or something. But he does rest down his oven, probably gonna pop the Manchuri. But yeah, next couple turns we are pretty set. We have the Manchuri to... Oh, he actually scoops it up, so... Yeah, maybe the writing was on the wall, because at this point he can really only swing in 1 more time. And we have like a bunch of counter, and if he put down like another Parasparrow, we'd be able to wipe his whole board in that at that point, right? So yeah, I guess, I mean, sucks that he wasn't willing to play it out, but yeah, able to scrape a win from Purple Katakuri as well. Okay, so last game I got for you guys, we're gonna be going up against Green-Yellow Yamato. And Green-Yellow Yamato is a really scary deck to go up against, especially when you're using a leader that can't attack. But the good thing for us is that we're a very control-oriented build, and so at least we're gonna be able to control his board. So the only thing we have to be careful about is their leader, right? So unfortunate for us, our leader ability got us another Colosseum, even though we already had one. And so yeah, just gonna be picking that up, but that's just gonna be a brick for the rest of the game, just because in this build I don't really run the 4-cost Cavendish, because I think he's really only good when you have the stage, but if you don't have stage, he feels pretty bad to just drop and do nothing. And then obviously we're not running the Sabos in this build either. So he swings in 10k at lead. I have to let that go, just because I don't want to rip apart our hand just yet. And yeah, him only having an Onami on board, I'm not really too threatened. And I think at this point I probably just play down the Usopp here, just making sure that he doesn't have any additional swings. And yeah, I just ripped the Colosseum just because the Colosseum doesn't really have any value for us in hand, and so I wanted to make sure we can just get rid of it real quick so that we can start getting our hand size down to use our leader ability for the future turns. So he does play down the Kiku here. Luckily for us, we have the Kyros to answer, and I think that's why like Rebecca feels so good. Like you're able to, or any like black blue deck, right? You're able to bottom deck any characters that have on KO effects, and so you're really, or I guess bounce to hand or bottom deck. So you're able to really play around that. So yeah, just bouncing that Kiku in hand. Obviously we're still in a really scary spot because even though we have board tempo at this point, he does have I think like 10 cards in hand right now. And so yeah, if he like loads up and starts cracking in the board, he'll definitely be able to start taking control of this game here. But yeah, he drops down the Doji, being able to pop our Usopp, which is really sad for us. And then we only have 1k counter in hand, so I think very, very likely he's going to connect his next leader swing. So it's going to be really scary for us going down to 1 here. But the good news is that we got 2Ks out of life, and so feeling good again. I think I just play down the Kyros again, just because I really don't want to give him this draw, and I really want to develop board so that we're able to start pressuring him for game in following turns. Maybe 3000 Worlds and Zoro was a better play, but I think just having like 2 9k bodies on board is really good as well. Yeah, so he plays the Hiyori here, probably putting the Kiku into life. So we should be able to play around that pretty well, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it doesn't really matter how he swung this turn, right? He could have swung 6-7 or yeah, 6-7 or 8-5, but either way we only countered with 2Ks anyway, so didn't matter too much. Yeah, definitely going to counter with this Momo just because we need that Rebecca being a blocker and being able to recycle one of our 2Ks. It's going to be really good for us in future turns. So here I think we have a bunch of Dawn to play with, and so I start off with a search. Luckily for us, we're able to find a 2K, and then I think I start off with a 3K with the Rebecca, right? Because if he turns this blocker sideways, we're going to be able to crack into it with our Kyros. And I think here I'm trying to bait him to get this Kiku out of life, and he takes it, thank goodness, because now we're able to Gravity Blade both of his bodies on board, and now we're really in a good spot to take the match here, because we do have enough counter to get out of a 9k swing, or sorry, an 8k swing, and so Hody Jones really won't save him here. And then obviously if he Hody Jones and tries to go for game, we'll be able to finish him off next game or next turn, right? So he does play the Hiyori down. I'm kind of scared that this Hiyori puts a 0 cost event in life, and so yeah, I think our next turn we try to play around that a little bit. But yeah, him playing down the Momo now, really scary stuff. Yeah, him going up to 2 life means that we likely don't have lethal next turn, and so that means that we're gonna be directed at his board again, right? So being able to play down stuff like 3000 Worlds and this this Pop Zoro, it's gonna be super nice. So the Izo being a blocker as well, pretty much impossible for us to win. So swing in 9 at lead here. See if he gives us the Hiyori. He actually gives us the blocker, which is a little insane. But yeah, I think our best play is just going to be to 3000 Worlds the Momonosuke, and then yeah, play the Zoro for the Yamato there. Yeah, I decided not to play down a blocker here just because, you know, if he had Hody, it wouldn't have really mattered if I played down the Rebecca. I'd rather just remove all of his bodies on board and then just load up on, or get rid of the bricks in our hand. So he does have the Hody Jones here, being able to rest down our 2 characters, but, you know, our 2 characters not being blockers didn't really matter. I think we played around that really well. And then putting down the Tonoyasu, swinging in 9. Our hand is able to counter out of 10 anyways. And so I just take the hit, forcing him to commit to his game plan. And then obviously it's just not enough to end the match. So yeah, able to get a win from Green-Yellow Yamato as well. I think that Rebecca honestly just needs like some sort of top end to be really good. I think she's like pretty decent right now against like non-meta decks, but obviously against the top tier decks, she's going to fold pretty fast just because she doesn't really have stuff like Big Mom and Sanji plays to keep up with the other decks. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.